Okay, good evening, everyone. Calling to order the meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, Thursday, August 17th. The first agenda item is NSA Property Holdings LLC continued hearing. We actually received an email from the engineers, Garrett Piccirillo. We're requesting another continuance of the September meeting. We have made revisions to the site plan for a recent condition with Chief O'Brien, and we now need a bit more time to iron out the septic design as previously requested by the board. So we're looking to move this to the September meeting. Do I have a motion to continue?
Make one.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next agenda item, the Garbett Pike hearing, which was continued from August for a special permit under 7.4 and 6.1.3 to construct a porch landing in existing building location on a non-conforming structure located on a non-conforming lot. Variance also from 7.8.3.7. Jamie, how are you?
Good evening. Jamie Bisnet, Zenith Consulting Engineers. The last hearing, some discussion regarding the electrical services and the hardship. I went back, spoke with my client. They actually had an electrician change, and now we have 1 meter on the house. So we'd like to withdraw the variance request for the 2 electrical services. We're still in need of the special permit for the setback, and I'll try to answer any questions you have regarding that.
Does anyone have any additional questions in regards to the setback? Like Jamie said, I think the big hang-up was the 2 electrical services.
Yes.
If they're getting rid of it, that point is moot.
It's gone.
Good. Well, if everyone's good,
Good.
entertain a motion to
I make a motion to grant the petition.
grant the special permit.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, so we have a motion, correct me if I'm wrong, yeah, for a special permit under 7.4 and 6.1.3 to construct a porch landing in existing building location in a non-conforming structure located in a non-conforming lot. Nothing to do with the variance.
Right.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie.
Good night.
Okay. The next agenda item is the Benatti hearing, which was continued, although we didn't really start anything at the last meeting. This is for an appeal from the decision of the building inspector, zoning enforcement officer, relative to business activity in the residential district at 434 Bedford Street. So, before I call Mr. Benatti up, I do want to point out one important factor here. There has not been a decision issued by the building commissioner at this point. There hasn't been cease and desist or an alternative to that issue. So I am going to still go forward with the hearing. Mr. Benatti, if you want to come on up and present the information you have, but what I am going to do first is ask the town council to clarify exactly the burden of proof that needs to be taken into consideration by this board.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Amy Quessel, Town Council. So this is an appeal under 40A, Section 8 and Section 15. Procedurally, as the chairman said, there is an issue because there's really nothing being appealed because there was nothing in writing from the building commissioner. Under 40A, Section 7, the building commissioner, someone can request the building commissioner undergo zoning enforcement, and the building commissioner has 14 days to respond. However, it's clear case law that the 14 days is directory, not mandatory, so the building commissioner technically does not have to respond. In this case, there really wasn't a ton of evidence or anything, so the building commissioner did not issue a written response, but the applicant appealed to the ZBA in any event. And in those cases, the applicant has the burden of proof. So the applicant is claiming that the business at 434 Bedford Street is unpermitted illegal commercial business in a residential zone. So it is his burden of proof to show this board that it's unpermitted and it's not pre-existing non-conforming use, meaning it was either, has been in existence since 1959, or at a later time when the zoning bylaw changed, making that commercial use unpermitted. So it's unequivocal that the burden of proof is on the applicant. The other just quick points that I wanted to bring up is 40A Section 6 states that a pre-existing non-conforming use, the building commissioner cannot enforce that use if the use is being undertaken with an original building permit. In that case, the building commissioner only has 6 years to seek enforcement, and those 6 years would be if in those 6 years somebody found out that the building permit was issued in error. That's not the case here. We don't have that here. This is a pre-existing non-conforming use, so there's really in those cases there's not really ever an original building permit. And then the other thing is that in 2016, 40A Section 7 was amended to provide that if a unpermitted structure has been in existence for 10 years, it becomes a lawful non-conforming structure. It doesn't become a legal structure, it becomes a lawful non-conforming structure. That does not apply to uses. So the 6 years or the 10 years in this instance really does not apply. So what we're looking at is we're looking for the applicant to provide evidence that this is an unpermitted business.
Okay, Mr. Benatti?
Well,
Could you want, Mr. Benatti, do
You want me to come
mind,
up?
yeah, you mind standing that way, the microphone's
I
there.
mean, it's kind of, sure. It's kind of a tough thing to find out that you prepared your case just to try to get a decision, so that you guys would move towards a decision and then find out all this at the last minute. There's no indication in the bylaws about any of the things, not about the non-conforming and conforming, but about, there's an implied thing that building inspector can still withhold a judgment and things like that. None of that's on the complaint form, none of that's in the bylaws that I saw. So I mean, that's just asking a lot for a complainant to have this kind of inherent tribal knowledge about these things. How could I? Do you understand what I'm saying? There's nothing in the complaint form. I talked to the AG's office. They agreed that there is nothing. They have no enforcement power, but they agreed that it is nothing. They're forwarding that to their supervisors. It stinks on the surface, and you guys know it. And now you're pulling this at the last minute. And I have to try to digest all of this. I would ask for an adjournment, and I would like to get a copy or some kind of information about this, if I could, because it's not fair. I didn't present a case to that effect. I'm simply asking that I get a decision from the building inspector that I may or may not appeal after the fact. It's been a year. It'll be a year on Labor Day. I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, but it's been a whole year. Okay, when I talked to Nate, he told me they're in violations, existing violations on the property from going back to 1989. Okay, the usage hasn't changed. It's an auto repair in a residential zone. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, it's been an illegal business for 34 years. I'm sick of it. I've lived there for most of the time. The noise is growing. There's tow trucks now that are denied and then admitted, and there's trucks coming in Sunday dropping cars, noise all day long. And we're just supposed to all last minute, you guys are changing everything that we're doing here. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Mr. Benatti,
It's totally unfair.
I can appreciate your frustration. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how anyone else is looking at it, we have to comply with how we handle things based off of legal counsel and precedents set by the courts.
Where is it in the bylaws? Where is it in the bylaws?
Mr. Benatti, let me finish. We have parameters we have to operate inside of. We just can't turn around and say, listen, we want to hear what you have to say, and we're going to make a decision whether we have the right or even ability to do so. Keep in mind, we don't make the rules and we don't set the parameters. We have to operate within them. You're appealing a decision in which there is no decision that has been made.
Well, then how do I get a decision? Am I supposed to wait another 4 years, 5 years?
Amy, would you mind commenting on that?
It's a pocket veto, is what it is. Sorry, go ahead.
So The applicant can appeal to a court for under mandamus.
Of course,
if they
yeah.
wanted to.
I mean, we don't have any ability to,
You cannot, you do not, the zoning board of appeals does not have the authority to tell the zoning enforcement officer to issue something in writing.
right, so we don't have the ability to do that. No zoning board in any.
So
community
that's
say-
in effect a pocket veto. So citizens can just have their complaints flushed down the toilet at that point. Because effectively, that's what you're saying. If he never answers,
Excuse me,
what
sir.
can we do?
I
Nothing.
think council told you, you may not like the answer, Mr. Benatti,
Yeah,
but you can challenge it in court.
yeah.
I
Well,
understand you don't like it, I'm not saying I
Because
agree
what-
that everything has to go that way, or I like it myself, but that is basically.
that's just a workaround to fast track everything to court. You know, a lot of us are elderly, we're sick, we don't have money for court. And it's bad enough I had to pay $300 just trying to get an answer, when I already spoke to this gentleman. And now he's saying, oh, everything is this, you know, why don't you say something, Nate, for yourself? You told me.
Mr.
personally. No,
we're not
you
gonna
listen
have
to me,
you-
all right, look, I paid $300 to come to this.
Listen, I'm gonna make a suggestion.
I want an
I'm gonna make
attorney,
a
I want what she
suggestion.
said in writing.
I'm gonna make a suggestion. I'm gonna suggest you ask for continuance. You can ask counsel afterwards what her opinion is as far as where her decision came from and how you can research that. And then I would suggest that maybe you go down to the building commissioner's office when you're a little calmer and ask Mr. Darling if he can please give you a decision one way or the other. So
I've
that
written to
you,
him
so
for a
that.
year, he hasn't answered one single word, didn't even acknowledge. He didn't even
Mr.
acknowledge my
Benatti,
email.
Mr. Benatti, I'm gonna end the hearing right now, and then you're not gonna be able to talk to anybody,
Yeah, okay.
okay? I wanna give you the opportunity, but I'm gonna suggest you do those two things, ask for continuance, talk to counsel about where to get the information to find out exactly what the protocol is, okay? And then in addition to that, I would suggest you go to Mr. Darling, and if he does not issue some type of decision or work with you in some way, shape, or form, you can come back and let us know that at the next meeting. Would you like to ask for continuance to the September meeting?
Yes, are you gonna do it?
Listen, you're talking to Mr. Benatti. Mr.
Oh,
Benatti,
he's
you're
right
talking
here.
to
Why can't I
us
ask him now?
because you can't. It's not the way this works.
Okay.
Again,
It's just all
It's not the way
12-hour
it
stuff.
works.
You guys are unfair.
would
This
you
is
like
totally
to
unfair.
ask for continuance?
Yes.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to continue?
Could I ask a question?
You can ask a question, yeah, make sure you ask it through me.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, may I, if I could? What's the concern about listening to Mr. Darling here at this point?
I don't think he wants to make his case at this point.
Actually got up in line just so I could speak to it.
I mean, I'd kind of like to hear what he has.
Do you want to make your case at this point? Because he referenced he didn't want to make his case at this point initially.
Well, I'd like to hear what he has to say since he's here.
So, do you want to make your case? Would you like to present us with evidence?
I don't even understand what the attorney said. I have to digest that first. You guys have town council. I come in here with nothing, and then all of a sudden you start reading off a lot of legalese. I have to digest that.
Basically what town council said was that in order for you, if there was a decision to be appealed, in order for you to have a ruling in your favor, we'll call it, okay? You are going to have to prove that at some point in time, there was not a business operating there.
I have to prove there was not a business operating there.
So, Mr. Chairman, as I understand it, right, if I
Yeah,
could
go
get
ahead.
one clarification.
Not a business there.
So, if we introduce Mr. Darling, that opens up his case, right?
His hearing
His
already
hearing
over at
starts.
this point, yeah.
And then we have to make a decision on that, his application tonight.
No, we can continue it.
After
We can continue it. I mean, Mr. Benatti can present what he has. I'm going to recognize the building commissioner at that point. I'll recognize anyone else. I'll recognize 434 Bedford Street. I'll recognize anyone. But at this point, if the person who's appealing, if Mr. Benatti is saying this isn't worth it, it's all fixed, I'm not going to do anything with this, it doesn't really behoove us to go forward if Mr. Benatti doesn't want to engage and participate. The other one who's appealing.
Go forward. Because I remember when a family lived there.
Excuse me, ma'am, I know, everything has to go through the chair, it's kind of a pain in the neck, but what happens is it gets out of order, so. Would you like to tell us what you
Yeah, I'll just do it now, I might as well.
Yeah, again, you can ask for continuance, this board doesn't have to make a decision tonight. There's nothing that mandates that we have to, so.
I've already, yeah, I'm a little bit shocked, and I'm obviously unnerved by everything that's going on. I did not see that coming out of blue sky, you know? I knew nothing about town council, I didn't hear this at the last meeting, and now this is totally different to me, what you're saying. So it's totally different, you
Keep in
know?
mind, the reason we didn't talk about anything at last meeting was because we didn't have a full board, and we wanted to make sure we had a full board, sir.
So, Mr. Chairman, just to be clear, every applicant that comes before this board has the burden of proof. He is the applicant.
Right. This isn't special just for you. This isn't
No, I
something that's
understand.
great for you.
I understand, but what I'm saying is I didn't understand that. I was here to argue that I want a decision for you guys to apply the bylaws the way they're written, which would prove that that's a legal business at that 434, which Nate already agreed that it is. That's all I'm asking, is the body to move and apply the bylaws as written.
I understand what you're asking for, just maybe the better way to explain it is, our role at this point, if there is a decision made by the building commissioner that you're unhappy with or don't think is right, and you want to appeal it, our role is strictly and very narrowly defined as we decide whether that decision we agree with or not. That's it. What I pointed out initially was, we don't have anything literally to make a decision on, because nothing has been, the decision hasn't come out of the commissioner's office.
Then why didn't you accept for me to go to the hearing?
You replied,
It was a de facto appeal, that's what I put down on the paper, and you guys accepted it.
and we explained, you know, what's.
So now you're telling me there is no de facto appeal because he hasn't made a decision. My viewpoint is that if he never makes a decision, I can never appeal anything. What's the point of that?
Well, you can't appeal it through this.
Oh, I have to go to
board
court and get a mandamus or whatever it's called?
To force.
Yeah,
force him to
that's
make a
great, too.
decision, yeah. So,
I mean, why are we
again,
doing this? Is this the kind of government we want to have, where we just jerk people around like this?
Listen, 5 people at this table do not set up the parameters and don't make the laws,
I understand that, but I'm just speaking for the record.
It's on the record, you're unhappy with the government, I
Yeah,
guess. So
yeah,
do you wanna
because, you know, I
continue-
waited a whole year to get here.
Mr. Benatti, do you want to talk about 434 Bedford Street?
Well, no, I don't know. I would really like to hear what the commissioner says before I go through all of this, and then,
I'm.
why can't you let
will
him
get-
speak? I've been trying to get him to say something for a year. Not one
You're the
word.
applicant. You're the one who's going to speak first, sir. Unless you
Are you
don't
gonna
have anything
speak,
to say.
are you gonna speak to me about this if I come down tomorrow or the next day?
Can't address it.
You can't
Mr.
address
Benatti,
it?
Mr. Benatti, again, I know you don't like the way the system works, but I would suggest, tell us what you have to tell at this point, and then we'll have other people speak what they want to tell us.
Hold on, I gotta get a little water. All right, I'll continue until next time, when I regroup. I don't wanna do anything tonight.
So we have a motion that the applicant would like to continue.
Motion
We
made.
don't have a motion. I'm asking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to continue to September 19th.
September 21st. Do we have a second?
I think.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. We have minutes to approve, which we usually don't have an audience for, so. Everyone reviewed the July 20th minutes. If they have, motion to approve them.
Here you go.
Make a motion to approve the July meeting.
Do we have a second?
No, unfortunately, I can't give
Further
you
discussion?
advice, but these are the
All in
3
favor?
cases,
Aye.
and these are where you find the
Opposed?
cases.
Motion carries.
Right there, and it's a free site.
I do not think we have any other correspondence, do we? Okay, next meeting, September 21st. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Come on, Chris.
Second.
All right.
I don't know,
All in
that's
favor?
what the
Aye.
question is.
Opposed? Motion
That's
carries.
the